Texoma's #1 rated newscast, broadcasting live from 12 studios. This is News 12 at 10 p.m.
Texas voters have spoken in a Senate race being watched across the country. Could Beto unseat Ted Cruz? We have the answer coming up.
Plus, seats in both state legislatures up for grabs tonight. Who will be representing Texomans in Austin and Oklahoma City?
And, of course, all our local races from district attorneys to city councils. We hear from tonight's winners on both sides of the red.
Election coverage sponsored by Douglas Distributing and Propane.
Welcome to this midterm election night edition of News 12 at 10. I'm Maureen Kane.
And I'm Dan Thomas. We're going to start tonight with a race that has caught the eyes of not only Texas, but really the entire nation. The Democrat challenger Beto O'Rourke trying to unseat incumbent and one-time presidential hopeful Ted Cruz, who's currently the junior U.S. Senator. And right now we can project that Ted Cruz will maintain his seat in the U.S. Senate. Several precincts yet to report. There are many of them expected to go for Ted Cruz. So tonight we are projecting that Ted Cruz will maintain his seat in the U.S. Senate. That one a little bit tighter than a lot of people expected tonight. A lot of votes yet to be counted in that race, but Ted Cruz expected to pull out the win and keep his seat in the U.S. Senate.
All right, and we anticipate hearing from Ted Cruz later in the show. Meanwhile, another huge race being decided tonight. Who will succeed Mary Fallin as Oklahoma's next governor? And, as expected, Republican Kevin Stitt has defeated Democrat Drew Edmondson tonight. The Tulsa mortgage company owner and political newcomer surprised many people when he beat former Oklahoma City Mayor Mick Cornett in the primary runoff. But not a shocker. The Republican wins in Red State, Oklahoma. And here is what Stitt had to say to his supporters earlier tonight.
It's time, folks, to fix a broken government and to bring our agencies into the 21st century with structural reform and technology that delivers accountability and transparency to all hardworking taxpayers. And it's time for smart government, one that is customer-oriented and focused on delivering core services like education, and not a government that panders to big business and special interest.
South of the Red River now, Texas voters overwhelmingly re-electing Greg Abbott tonight. Abbott easily wins a second term, defeating Democrat challenger and former Dallas County Sheriff Lupe Valdez. Here's what the governor had to say to his supporters in Austin tonight.
Moments ago, I received a phone call from Sheriff Lupe Valdez, sending on her congratulations about the victory, and I thanked her. But also, I told her what I want to tell all Texans, and that is whether or not you voted for me or against me or didn't vote at all, I'm going to go to work every single day working for everybody in this great state.
All right, we're going to go back to the U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. He is expected to keep his seat in the U.S. Senate.
That's right, beating challenger Beto O'Rourke. Here's what he has to say tonight. He is live.
It was a contest for who we are and what we believe. It was a contest, and the people of Texas decided this race. We traveled every part of the state, from East Texas to West Texas, from the Panhandle to the Valley. And the energy, the excitement we saw was incredible. Just a couple of weeks ago down in the Valley, in Harlingen, 2,000 people coming out. In Mission, 2,000 people coming out. In El Paso, 2,000 people coming out. And what was truly amazing, at many of these events, we would ask, how many of you here are former Democrats? And we would see hands throughout the room as we're seeing hands now.
All right, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz talking to an excited crowd there about his projected victory tonight. All right, moving on to who represents Texoma voters in the U.S. House, starting with another Texas incumbent.
Congressman John Ratcliffe's district includes all of Grayson, Fannin, and Lamar counties. And the Republican who unseated Ralph Hall 4 years ago easily wins another 2 terms in Congress. You see there with 76% of the vote.
And moving back north of the Red River, the incumbent Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen appears headed for another term in the House tonight. This will be his 4th term for the Tulsa businessman and former pro mixed martial arts fighter who was first elected in 2012. Oklahoma's 2nd congressional district includes all of eastern Oklahoma.
And in our other Oklahoma congressional district, that includes all of south central Oklahoma, voters elect Chickasaw native Tom Cole to a 9th term in the House. A Republican, was first elected back in 2002 and is a member of the Appropriations, Budget, and Rules Committees. Cole and Mullen are the only 2 registered Native Americans in Congress. You see there, he wins 63% of the vote.
All right.
All right, now on to who will represent Grayson County voters in Austin, as both a new state representative and state senator are being elected tonight.
We're going to start with that District 62 House race. Who's going to take over for Larry Phillips and represent Grayson Fannin in Delta counties in the Texas House? And no surprise here, Reggie Smith of Van Alstyne appears headed for an easy victory tonight. He spoke with our Kristen Weaver about his plans in the House.
Hey guys, yes, we're here with Reggie Smith, the new Texas House representative for District 62. Congratulations, Reggie. Do you want to kind of tell us some of your priorities and the biggest things that you have in store to serve the people that live here in District 62?
Well, thank you. I mean, we're very happy about the numbers we're seeing thus far tonight. We don't have all the results in, but it is looking very promising at this point. As far as my agenda, it's going to be the same thing that I talked about day in and day out on this campaign. Property tax reform, school finance reform, border security. Those are the 3 priorities that I hear over and over again from constituents that they want me to address down in Austin.
Talk about your background. You know, you love the people of Grayson County. You're from here. So talk about, Grayson, Fannin, and of course Delta as well.
Well, I've got good relationships all across this district, and those relationships have been enhanced and solidified over the course of this 14-month race. I'm just a hometown boy. I grew up here in Sherman, Texas. I grew up out on a farm. I'm a 6th generation Grayson County native, and I'm just very pleased to have the opportunity to make sure that Grayson, Fannin, and Delta are well represented in Austin.
And do you want to give a message to the residents here? What do you want to tell them now that they've, made their choices and made their votes?
Well, if things continue like they are, I can just say that thank you so much for the commitment that so many voters have made in entrusting me with this office. This office has been in great hands for years, and I hope that I'm a good steward of it as well.
Thank you so much, Reggie. Again, Reggie Smith, District 62 representative, which is Grayson, Fannin, and Delta counties. We'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Kristen. Well, the other legislative seat, the Grayson County voters are helping decide tonight who's going to be the new state senator.
Longtime District 30 Senator Craig Estes was ousted by Republican challenger Pat Fallon in the primary. And there you see, with a victory tonight, the Frisco businessman and current Denton County state rep makes it official. Our Jen Phillips spoke to the new state senator moments after he was declared the winner.
Here at Prosper's Silo Park with the candidate for Texas State Senate District 30, Pat Fallon. Now, Pat, you mentioned all throughout your campaign the need for immigration reform in Texas. What will you do personally during this legislative session to make sure that that happens?
We have to fight fervently and vehemently for a secure border here in Texas, because if you're not safe, then you're not free. And that's what Texans really want, and we have to demand it moving forward. The federal government should be in control of our borders, not the Mexican drug cartels. And that's essentially what's happening right now, and we have to reassert ourselves and our authority. We're all for illegal immigration. It's great. I mean, there's 1 million people in Mexico waiting to come into this country legally in their home country. Those are precisely the kind of people we want to come here. But, when people cut the line, they're making those good people wait longer, and it's patently unfair.
So a long road ahead on that issue, I'm sure. But tonight there are so many people that went out to the polls. What do you think is driving that record-breaking number of people that voted?
Well, I think people are paying a lot more attention because of President Trump, and the fact that O'Rourke's campaign injected $110 million. That's a record figure in a U.S. Senate race, and that's going to have an effect down ballot. I just want to say to the voters of Senate District 30, very humbly, thank you. We're up 106,000 votes right now, and I just can't wait to get to work for the people of Texas, the people that put on a hard hat and go to work. and work for a living and made this country great. And we shouldn't apologize for that. We should celebrate those folks, because there's a party that calls them the bad guy or bad gals, and they're not. That's what made this country great. We're going to keep Texas great, and we're going to continue to have limited government and low taxes and a prosperous business environment, because California, Illinois, and New York, they're bleeding jobs and they're bleeding opportunity and they're bleeding wealth, and we're gaining in all three of those categories.
Thank you so much. Well, that is the word from Pat Fallon. He is the Republican candidate for State Senate District 30. For now, I am in Prosper. Jen Phillips, News 12.
Now to the Oklahoma legislature, where Ardmore voters are electing their new state representative tonight.
That's because longtime state representative Pat Owenby is retiring. Tonight we know who will take his seat in the House. It'll be Republican Tammy Townley that beats Democrat Cheryl Key with 63% of the vote there to Key's 37. Now, she spoke to our Crystal Martinez about her victory tonight.
I'm here with the new District 48 State Representative Tammy Townley. Tammy, you're walking into a position where many say the education system here in Oklahoma is hurting. Do you think school funding and teacher pay raise is a problem? And if so, how do you plan to fix that?
You know, our legislature took a great step last spring whenever they boosted teacher pay raises. I really feel like they've made a good first step. I feel like more needs to be done, and that's going to be one of our goals. We're going to see what we can't do for our support staff, our state workers, and of course our teachers, putting more money into the classrooms.
And medical marijuana, a big story here in Oklahoma this year. Do you support tougher restrictions than what we already have right now?
Not really. The people of Oklahoma spoke loud and clear, and I believe that in essence it needs to stay the same. Now, personally, I have a few things. I'm not crazy about it being smoked in public, but that's because I don't like smoke, period. But as far as the essence of the law, I think it needs to stay very close to the same.
And really just my final question, what is your top priority representing our area in the House?
Again, it goes back to the education thing. I really think we have to put more money into the classrooms. We have to put more money into roads and bridges, and I just think we need to make all of that a priority.
Well, thank you so much, Tammy, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
And moving on to Pontotoc County, where we see their seat in the state house up for grabs tonight. The incumbent, Todd Thompson, is termed out. So voters choosing between Ada Junior High Principal Ronnie Johns and Ada Fire Captain Danny Manuel and former Ada School Board member Gary Rines. There you see this one tonight is a tight one, but tonight it looks like Ronnie Johns, the Republican, pulls out a victory in that race. Well, this spring's teacher walkout, it was the final straw for many Oklahoma educators who decided themselves to seek state office.
Two of them squaring off tonight for the same seat to become southeastern Oklahoma's newest state senator, Republican David Bullard, winning tonight. He actually teaches at Denison High School, but is married to a Durant High School principal, has daughters who attend Oklahoma public schools. He spoke to our own Stan Smith about his win.
I'm here with Oklahoma District 6 Senator-elect David Bullard. David, as a teacher yourself, you filed a run as a senator when your fellow teachers in Oklahoma decide to walk out in the spring. Is education the most important issue in Oklahoma, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think that you have to combine the economy with education because the two are tied. If we get education right, the economy works, and if we get the economy right, education is benefits and helps. So yeah, you've got to combine those two, and those are going to be the two priorities that we're going to look at is how do you keep the economy flowing and growing the way that it is, and then how do you help education? We want to step in and work with them.
Right, and the voters have chosen you now. What sort of solutions or ideas do you have to help fix education in Oklahoma?
So one of the things that we've got to look at is getting down to some audits and checking our agencies and checking our government just to make sure that it's running efficiently and open and transparent. And so I believe you can do what you need to do in education, what we have to do in education. You can do it without raising taxes. You can go in and look at what you're spending, move money around, and set education as a priority, but then understand that there's a lot of issues within our economy that need that help too as well. So we're going to focus on a large area of issues within the state.
Great. David, thanks again for joining me.
Yeah.
Now it's back to you guys in the studio.
All right, well, we are just getting the final Grayson County numbers. We're going to bring those to you in just a few minutes. But first, let's check our weather. Some rain starting to show up, right, Steve?
That's right, Maureen. Thanks so much. Doppler 12 showing a band of some moderate to heavy rain now from about Pottsboro and Gordonville in Grayson County west to about Thackerville. Nothing severe, but definitely some brief heavy downpours developing in this band of rain over the last hour. We expected this. This is in response to low pressure developing to our south and west. So I think this rain will tend to increase overnight. We may have occasional lightning with some of the stronger shower elements, and you can see that indicated here in our overnight forecast. Temperatures generally holding in the 50s.
Well, 2 city council seats up for grabs in Sherman tonight. Who voters chose?
And Grayson County's top law job also on the ballot tonight. The crimes the new DA says he'll focus on prosecuting.
Well, Brett Smith's been serving as Grayson County's interim district attorney after longtime DA Joe Brown was appointed U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Texas by President Trump earlier this year.
Tonight, Smith is looking to make it official with a win in the general election, and the Van Alstyne Republican does just that. He spoke to our own Kristen Weaver about his goals as DA.
Hi, Danny Maureen. We're here with Brett Smith, the new Grayson County District Attorney. Congratulations, Brett. Do you want to talk about how the past couple of months have prepared you for this and, what you've learned?
Well, certainly. I owe a debt of gratitude to the Grayson County Commissioners Court. They made me the interim DA on May 1st of this year, and it's given me an opportunity to get my feet on the ground and run that office and figure out what we need to do. We've got a great staff, and we're just ready to go and start this January 1st of 2019 as the new DA of Grayson County. The office is ready to go.
Talk about your past experience prosecuting, what you've learned, and what you want to see happen in the next couple months, your first few months.
Certainly. I've been prosecuting for 15 years. This has been my dream for a long time. When I worked for Joe Brown many years ago, I wanted to be the DA, and this is a dream come true for me. It's a dream come true.
And what would you want to tell the citizens of Grayson County now?
That tomorrow morning I'm going back to work bright and early, back to work protecting the citizens of this county, and we're going to keep this in law. This is a law and order county, and we take fighting crime very seriously in Grayson County, and we're going to continue to do that.
Thank you so much, Brett. Again, Brett Smith, new Grayson County District Attorney, and his family. I'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, and now to the big race in Lamar County tonight. Brandon Bell unseats incumbent county judge Chuck Superville. You see there that number just now coming in, 70% of the vote. Brandon Bell will be the new Lamar County judge.
And coming up on News 12 at 10, booze on the ballot. Which Grayson County town voted to legalize alcohol sales tonight? What voters decided?
Well, we've talked federal, state, and county elections already tonight. Now it's time for a few local races.
That's right. Sherman voters deciding on 2 city council seats tonight. For place 1 at large, it's Councilman Willie Steele with a big lead right now over the challenger, Sheldon Daniels. In fact, we can go ahead and call that one for Steele right now. And for place 2 at large, Sandra Melton will take Jason Sophie's seat, who is term limited out. She was facing Joe Gilbert, and with 24 of 24 reporting, Melton the winner tonight. Sherman's newest city council woman.
Meredith McCowan spoke to her.
I'm here with the newly elected Sherman City Council member for Place 2, Sandra Melton. Congratulations, Sandra. So, Sandra, could you tell the viewers a little bit about your background?
Yes, I worked for the city of Sherman for over 22 years, and so I know a little bit about the inside of the city, and I now work at Nebula Elementary.
And what made you want to run for City Council?
My heart has still been with the city, and I still get emails, phone calls, text messages from citizens asking questions, and I thought, well, why not become a voice for the city?
So what's the one biggest issue facing the town that would be a top priority for you as a council member?
I would really like to look at where the money has been spent within the city. We have been paying for stormwater, and so I want to figure out where that money is going and how it's going to be spent.
Perfect. Thank you, Sandra. So again, this is Sandra Melton. She's the newly elected council member for Sherman City Council. Back to you.
All right, now over to Whitesboro, where voters are choosing whether to make their town wet.
Tonight, that proposition to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages is approved by voters. You can see 69% of the vote there. All right, we will be right back. Ardmore area voters also choosing their state senator tonight, a familiar name on the ballot.
That's right. Retired naval officer Frank Simpson has served District 14 as senator since 2010. Tonight, easily wins re-election. Now, he spoke to our Shelby Dowler about a turbulent year in the legislature and what he sees ahead for the Sooner State.
I'm here with Oklahoma District 14 State Senator Frank Simpson, who has won another term. Thank you for meeting with me, Senator. My first question is, of this last legislative session, do you think it was the most difficult for you? Why or why not?
It was most difficult primarily because we never really had a break. We finished up the 2017 session, which was a challenging session. Also had a very, very short break and went into 2 special sessions back to back, which led us right into the 2018 session. So very stressful, very busy time of the year.
And for our viewers out there with kids in Oklahoma public schools, how do you believe we start to fix some of the problems we've seen recently?
Well, we made a significant step this last legislative session where we were able to pass a very significant teacher pay raise, which actually brought our teachers up to number 2 in the region. Of course, I'd like to see us be number 1 in teacher pay, but we've got to look at the next step, and that's to get more funding in the classroom. And we're going to be looking at some aspects of that involving the funding formula, but we've got to get more money into the classroom so that we can provide the equipment and services that our students need in the classroom.
And looking forward to this next legislative session, what will be your main priority?
Well, my main priority as chairman of the Subcommittee for Appropriation for Health and Human Services is going to be areas like mental health, Department of Human Services, Oklahoma Health Care Authority, with really a focus on the needs of our children. We've got a lot of children that need some help in our state, and I'm going to be looking at how we can do things, since we will have evidently some revenue this year, how we can use that revenue to have a positive impact on our children.
Thank you so much for meeting with me, Senator. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Shelby. Well, one candidate's gone from mayor of Atoka to Speaker of the Oklahoma House.
Tonight, Republican Charles McCall wins re-election after a tumultuous term as House Speaker, as Oklahoma's teachers walked out earlier this year in a nasty budget battle that boiled over between Republicans and Democrats. Our own Benjamin Diaz talked to McCall about the issues the state still faces.
We're here with Oklahoma Speaker of the House, Charles McCall. Now, Mr. Speaker, obviously public school funding and teacher pay is one of the biggest issues here in Oklahoma, and our viewers would like to know what happened and what will happen moving forward.
This last legislative session, we were able to move the state of Oklahoma in teacher pay from 7th out of 7 states in the region to 2nd. The state of Texas is still leading this region in teacher pay, but it was a historical landmark piece of legislation that really allowed us to take a big step. Going into the next legislative session, school education funding will continue to be the priority. Fortunate for the state of Oklahoma, we are looking at strong surpluses this next year, and we will continue funding for public schools to try to get more money into the classroom.
And obviously medical marijuana continues to be another hot topic. What's been your impression on it so far?
Well, the people of the state of Oklahoma passed State Question 788, medical marijuana, back in June. We've had a work group both in the House and the Senate working in the interim to come up with a framework for the rules. I think you'll see legislation when we reconvene in February. That will be one of the first bills that you see move through the legislative process in implementing those rules and a framework to build off of in the state.
Well, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for your time and congratulations on your re-election.
Thank you so much.
Now back to you guys at the studio.
All right, exciting night out there.
That's right, and all those election results going to be on our website, KXII.com, and the free KXII app as well.